Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2021 Northwoods Open. This PDGA sanctioned event and stop on the Wisconsin Disc Golf Tour takes place at Sandy Point Resort and Disc Golf Ranch. Truly one of my favorite destinations in the entire sport of disc golf. Of course, I have a little bias. I've been going up there since the age of 15 or 16, but incredible property, as you're going to see. Very unique course and a great experience to be up there for a couple of different tournaments that take place each year, being the Northwoods Open and the Sandy Point Team Invitational. We're here for the second and final round. We're going to play 27 holes. They played 27 on Saturday. Now, Sunday afternoon, 27 more holes. We've got Dan Schlitter, your leader, who looks to be coming in hot, but that's actually the short basket. Sandy Point now has more than 50 holes permanently in place. So whatever your competitive spirit is feeling, you can go after. And you're seeing a blue in of a basket off to the deep pin position. In fact, they call this layout the Walleye Blue layout. And that's Scott Burtard. Scotty Too Hotty, otherwise known as. During Saturday's round, they played the Loon Silver layout, which is very short. As you'll see, very technical course throughout. Just 218 feet is an average hole length on the short course, and this longer course comes in closer to 280 feet on average. So Schlitter opened with a 21 under out of 27 holes during round number one the day before. Picking right back up where he left off from the day before. The birdie to start. Dan comes into the round with a 10-13 rating at this time. His first round, however, rated 1053. And maybe most importantly, a 3-stroke advantage over Andrew Brown here. However, Andrew opens with a birdie of his own. One thing you'll learn very quickly is the quickness of Scott Burtard, a gentleman I've known for more than 20 years. Easily one of the fastest players you will ever see in disc golf. Also, one of the few that wears jeans religiously. Find two main lines to this longer pin position. Some players will go right up the middle, like we're seeing from Andrew. And that's going to be a near park job. Or sometimes you'll see the route that, well, right here. Play up the left side as both Too Hotty and Schlitter were trying. Looks like Andrew Kenny's going to try the same. And, oh, that was tracking and looked great. This property, purchased and developed in the early 90s, became one of the earliest courses in Wisconsin disc golf. I believe the first ever disc golf course that was also featured as what we would now refer to as an Airbnb, but very much a resort atmosphere. They continually built and rebuilt cabins and living quarters right there on the premise. Most people will rent out a place for a week at a time, and sometimes they can be booked solid for an entire year, if not years in advance. It's pretty intense up there. And you walk out of your cabin and, well, you're on a disc golf course. Move over here, hole number 3. So Andrew has managed to get the gap down to 2. Scotty up and throwing already, no surprise. Andrew doesn't make the gap. He comes in with a 10-18 rated first round. That's what his 17 under effort got him. And he's rated 978. He comes out of Mequon, Wisconsin, which is a northern Milwaukee suburb.
Thanks. Hopefully it's chilled.
There is a steep hill that falls off to the back right side of this basket. Also, if you go too far, you can find yourself near the tee of the next hole, hole number 4. Kenny will have a little work left to save the par. About 20, maybe 25 feet to the right and deep of the basket is where you'll find a steep hill, which, knock on wood, I've never been down that hill. And it is not a place you want to be. Brown looking to go 3 for 3 here. Andrew came into this tournament rated 1,003. And of a champion disc, a sponsor of his. And Andy saves the par. And this may have been assisted somewhat by the tree. Doesn't matter. This is perfect position. No problems here for Dan Schlitter, who's going to pick up his second birdie in 3 holes. And now we head over to the catch cam position, actually, for hole number 4, which is downhill and plays as a gentle dog leg from left to right. If you throw it perfectly straight and it doesn't get up and roll or hit anything, you're probably looking at about a 25, maybe 30-footer. So that's why you see forehands and maybe some backhand turnovers, because you want it to finish just a little bit to the right. Burtard not waiting at all, ready to go with the forehand. He'll be a little short, and this looks a little inside as well, and it is. And that's going to take him out of position for the birdie. It does slope behind the basket, so you have to be worried that something can catch edge and get up and possibly roll away on you here as well. If you think about De La Viega, many of you have seen kind of how that course can play. Sandy Point has some similar attributes. Not only could you hit a tree and it could roll, but obviously you see the hard, compact earth, and something can get up and roll away on you on a number of holes. And it might not be the distance, it just might take you out of position. And you need to draw some kind of metal here, because if you go deep and it slopes down directly behind the basket, you're probably going to be left with a awkward putt coming back. And he draws a little bit of metal, but now this shouldn't be too bad. Likely a straddle. Scotty, no problems with the straddle. He picks up third birdie in 4 holes. Here's a pro tip. You see Andrew's foot is just off center of his mini, and many years ago, that wouldn't have been legal. You have to be directly behind it. Now you have a little bit of room. You have a little bit of room both left and right of your mini, and sometimes that extra 2 or 3 inches can be really helpful. Certainly scoring opportunities on these first 4 holes. It does get tougher. I know these are all short, It gets a little bit tougher over the next few holes to pick up birdies. Still, you can get them, but you really need to be scoring on these first 4 for sure. And this, hole number 5, playing to the long basket, is a sharp dogleg right. And that's about as good of a shot as you could have asked for. And that's actually still going to be significantly short. So you see that they're trying to push it hard because it goes hard to the right, uphill the entire way, and you need to miss 50 trees. And you can see that landing by the short. If you get to the short pin, which is only marked at 220 or 230, you still have another 40 or so feet to go to get to the long. And again, at 263, plenty of people would still consider this a little bit of a bonus birdie to be able to get all the way to the long pin. Holes 5, 6, and 7 have been added and weren't part of the original design from many, many years ago. They've just been added in the last 10 years or so, which I guess now sounds like a long time ago. So you see this is a near perfect shot for the short pin and leaves you with at least 40 feet, maybe 45 to the long. Good bid by Burtard. You see him wearing what's called a Team Alliance shirt. That was a shirt and a team event that I was part of for many, many years. And that's the other major event that takes place up here at this resort, usually in the first weekend or so of June. And like you see in the Southwest Team Invitational, it takes place down in San Diego. Concept was very much borrowed a few decades ago, and the Sandy Point Team Invitational, certainly one of the greatest events on the planet for disc golf. So many of our top players and Hall of Famers from around the world have been at that event and have participated. It's a pretty incredible time. Hole 6. We're playing the short tee position to the long pin. There's actually a longer tee. So you have 2 pins and 2 tees on this particular hole. Most holes just have 1 cement tee, but going to the long, you got to play down the valley, and it finishes up to that right-hand side. You can just barely see the blue band. If you've got the forehand or the turnover, that's definitely the bigger gap. You will see a player go off to the right side occasionally. Far less likely to penetrate all the way through and give yourself a good look for birdie.
I did it. You can go in the Mach 3 yourself. All the same.
At the bottom of the hill is where you'll find the Mach 3.
Push. Nice shot, Andy. Good job, guys.
And a little more history to this course. There are Mach 3s and DGA baskets that have always been on this course since the day it was put in. The owners, Mike and Michelle Cousins, very good friends with Steady Ed Hedrick. In fact, Steady Ed is the godfather to one of their daughters, to one of Mike and Michelle's daughters. So Steady Ed has been on this property and very near and dear to the hearts of the cousin family. And so it's always been DGA baskets, and it's just been in the last few years. Mike, who's also been an authorized dealer of Innova for nearly 30 years, has now also added the Innova baskets so that pin positions don't have to be moved. We can simply have multiple courses or layouts in at the same time. That is a great par save by Andrew Kenny. Struggling a little bit, sitting one over for the round. And Scotty to Hotty will go and tap in, as does Andrew. And then ultimately, Dan Schlitter was in for birdie. I think we had a double camera punch, and those were the results. So we head over to 7. Short little pitch shot, again, downhill over, I don't want to call it a wetland, but over a somewhat damp area that usually is a little bit wet and muddy. Guess it's ravine-like in nature. A ravine, I suppose, doesn't have to have water, does it? You see them throwing past the short basket to try and get to this pin on the long basket. And that's going to be a little bit of trouble. No one really able to keep up and keep the pressure on Dan at the moment. But you have to know on a course like this, every single hole can be birdied. And conversely, a couple of tree kicks can get you out of position and very easily walk away with a bogey or double bogey or an occasional roll on a basket such as this one. Center of the chains. Andrew Brown gets back to 3 under for the round. Oh, not only did it look like it could have fallen in, it gets a nasty roll away. Here's Burtard to save the par. And working hard for it. And just a walk in the woods for old Dan Schlitter here. 5 down through 7. Big shout out to all of my Patreon subscribers. I realize this is coming out well after the event had taken place. However, there was absolutely no plans to originally film this, which is just so happened that our crew from Pastry Dyes was available. They were up there, had a camera. We were able to put this together. So really bonus content. And that's definitely supported by my Patreon subscribers. So thank you guys so much. And yes, it breaks my heart. I wasn't at this event. Kind of like Scotty trying to break a tree there.
Stay clean, buddy. Shot.
Oh, yeah.
Get in hole.
Yeah,
Oh!
dude.
I don't know. That's a little, I don't know. It's a little, you know, someone might have just putted over there.
Yeah, there are people putting on 10, but the timing was
I know,
way
it's
too good
impeccable.
on that.
Yeah. Do you want me to check?
I don't care.
I'm good at running up hills.
It's all good.
Scott, I was going to say, Scott was way too fast for us to go.
Dan says he's good running up hills. Burtard. Trying to claw himself up that hill. And there should be a disclaimer or disclosure here. I've known Scotty for more than 20 years. I've traveled various parts of the country. He has a very, very dry sense of humor, sarcastic sense. And so if it sounds like I'm a little casual about him and what he's doing, it's all in good friendship and love, that's for sure. Probably worth clarifying. Scotty's been to the memorial and to another number of other big events that I've traveled with, and we've battled and known each other for quite some time. And disc golf is usually not much of a priority to him these days, although he still puts his jeans on and comes out and competes. Scott from Sheboygan, Wisconsin, the home of Barry Schultz. So grew up playing the same park. So confirmed not an ace for Andrew. A birdie, however, for Schlitter, no problems. And as you guys can see, this course is not about the distance. It's clearly about staying clean, playing accurate, and being able to just scramble. Like, that's the key out here more than anything, is being able to scramble your way, because you're going to hit a tree. You're going to get off path at some point. Make sure you check them out, sandypt.com, as we head over to hole 9. One of the holes I used to find the most difficult in disc golf is this turnover shot. And it's widened considerably, giving you a lot more airspace up there. But back in the day, this was a very narrow gap. That's a good-looking line. You essentially want to throw the same shot that you throw to the short or the long pin. This is marked at 214. The short is probably 180 or 190. And very similar lines. If you land at the short, you're putting at the long. And Burtard realizing he came in a little bit tight and got lucky. If Schlitter can work for it, and that one dips out on the left side. Seen Andrew in a number of events, largely in Wisconsin, when I've had him on some coverage. Thinking back to the Skyline Classic or the Cold Turkey. We've seen him a few times as too Hotty has that one slip out. Andrew, a world-class ultimate player. Now, certainly a world-class disc golfer. They'll head over hole number 10, which in my head was still hole number 7. I mentioned earlier, holes 5, 6, and 7 were added many years later to this course. So in my head, I think of everything's off by 3. And they're nearing the tee pad of the next hole, hole number 11. So certainly a good call to yell 4 there.
Good little late branch. Thank you, little late branch.
Oh, Scotty, come on,
Come
baby.
on, blow it up.
Oh my. Here, on, Scotty.
Firebird? Okay. I'll allow it. That was, besides the Justice, like I mentioned earlier, the Firebird was the hardest disc to replace in that bag.
Dan. Talking discs. Of course, Team Discraft competitor that's done so well. Not just regionally, but we saw a great battle with him at the Canyons in 2021. Just an all-around great guy as well. And I apologize. Dan did offer at one point. He said he'd be available, along with a couple of the other guys here, all from this card, that said they would be interested in doing some commentary, and it was just a matter of knocking it out and getting it finally posted. That none of it worked out with anyone. I'll take the blame on that, guys.
Sorry, I thought that was all of them.
You had one more, Scott.
So due to the tee being somewhat close to that basket, they were...
I saw him over there. I'm like,
And it's always polite to try not to, be putting out when there's another basket or tee nearby, but it's, on a course like this, it's almost impossible to account for that. And nobody noticed you tripping there, Dan. Don't worry about it. For a second time, Dan. All this for the birdie. Nice two, more like nice 2 trips. All right, hole 11. Definitely one of the tougher birdie gets, and I know it's just 351, but standing on this tee with just a tunnel, just a pipe, you have to just throw it down. Knowing when you get off the mark, it's very easy to pick up a bogey.
Reverse.
That's a pretty good shot. Now, top-level players all around the world, yeah, this seems like the easiest shot in the world. It is to the most elite. When you're not the most elite, this is a little bit more daunting.
Schlitter special, caress you back into the fairway.
And to be fair, this fairway has widened considerably throughout the years. Known as the power line hole.
Also be nice. Yeah. Nice enough.
jumping.
Good shot, Scott.
Let's put it this way. You're not mad if you walk away with a 3 here.
Oh my God, do it. Oh, wow. Shot.
Good approach, Dan.
Roll back to it, maybe.
Not as good of an approach, but that little section around the basket kind of drags everything back toward the pin. Drawing some metal. Good look there for Brown. So now, Schlitter. Just a little bit of work to do to save the par. He's got a nice, comfortable lead at the moment. So that might add to the confidence slightly. He's birdied 7 out of 11. Here's Scotty to Hotty. He's going to pick up a birdie.
Request denied, Brown. Yeah.
I didn't see anything. I thought you said nice shot. And I realized you said, do you mind if I get this shot?
Not your top level etiquette there by too high. Everybody, I don't think anyone realized that Andy still needed to putt. So good concentration for him to chip that one in. Here we are on hole 12. 306 feet. Again, distance not the problem. It's just a matter of throwing it straight down the pipe and then letting the disc do the work at the end. And anything short definitely takes you out of position for the birdie. If somehow you throw it too straight or too far, you could go over the OB road. And these guys are making it look pretty easy from our catch cam position. I'll be a little off to the right side. The much more challenging position on this hole is actually to the shorter pin that plays just a few feet short of the OB road. So at sub 300, you're trying to nestle it right up next to a pin that's pretty close to the OB road that comes into the resort property. And you see the pro shop just behind that red truck. Pretty expansive pro shop that's been there for many years. And you know that Mike is very active online. If you see Mike Cousins, this is the shop in which it's coming from. And also this property, many of you may have gotten a reference at one time or another that this is where Adam Hammis certainly has come and played hundreds, if not thousands, of disc golf rounds. He grew up no more than 15 minutes from this property. So certainly home turf for one Adam Hammis. A near impossible birdie for a lefty unless they have a forehand. That corner just cuts too much. So we head over across the road, hole 13. 329, and it's all about the pinch point. You see right where the Mach 3 basket is. You essentially need to go just miss that. Maybe just over it as it kind of pushes from left to right, and it's probably about 100 feet past that basket. And the tendency here is to throw it too hard and then pull something into that right-hand side.
Oh, I clapped it into a tree. I thought we were past it.
Dan did think he hit the gap, and it looked good. Hits a late tree, kicks him off to the left side. I have a little work to do from over there. Andrew pulls it right and then kicks hard left.
Yeah, that's not a good place, though.
Very easy hole to take a bogey on, because if you get out of position, well, okay. Or you make an incredible recovery shot to avoid the bogey. Unbelievable shot there. Now, Andrew is on the left side. This is actually right next to the short tee of 14. 14 is one of the few holes also that has a short and a long tee to it. And they're at the short original tee of 14. So he goes up and over, trying to salvage something. Scotty from 100 feet. He'll pitch up. Little patent pending action. If you don't have a patent pending stance, you're going to be in trouble out on this course. I guarantee you're going to need it at some point.
Thanks. All right. Too stressed.
Here's Kenny to save the par. Solid. Doing some work. As I said, if you said, oh, I bogeyed 13, just no one would be surprised by that. This is easy to get out of position. See a couple good par save putts here. Looks like we might see 4 pars. How about I cheat and look at some... I guess it's not really cheating at this point. I'll look at some statistics, though. Average 3.35, so it actually averaged over par. And came in as the 5th most difficult hole on the 27-hole course. So I guess there's something to be said there. So they're going to play from the short tee, which is something that's not common. But playing to the basket in the stump. .285. If it's not all the way there in the air, it's also pretty common to go low and then just have it skip the last 30 to 50 feet to the pin. Oh, I'm an idiot. No, they are playing the long tee. Okay. I apologize. I'm not even going to go fix that. They are playing from the long tee. So off to the left side of this fairway is where the short tee would have been coming from, which probably is about 200 feet. So that's what was throwing me off. Yeah, this is a very... Either way, it's a left to right bend with a protected green on an elevated basket in the stump. And from the long pin, this is a little bit of a bonus birdie because if you don't have a forehand, you're probably not getting a look at it. So I'll start closing out on that bogey for myself. Yeah, long tee, that makes so much more sense because that's where we've seen it played for so many years since this hole's been given a long tee. But thank you to the Patreon subscribers. Thank you to the pastry dye guys running around getting some action for us. This is all bonus. Again, 2021, I understand it's come out in 2022, but sharing this majestic property and this experience with you guys has been awesome. As Dan picks up the birdie, he looks like he's in control, but anything can happen. We see more tight wooded golf with plenty of OB actually in the back half of this course. So thanks for joining. Thank you to all of the supporters that you saw during the transition screens, including Double G Jerky. Like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment of any kind about what you think about this place. I'll draw for someone and give away a free disc. I'm the Disc Golf Guy. We'll see you for the back half.